Hey, hi, hello. Welcome back to this week's episode of the Psilly Talk podcast. I'm your host, Shally, and on this podcast, we talk about all things mindset, mushrooms, wellness, and personal development. Today's episode is all about upgrading and reprogramming your mindset. Mindset is literally everything. What you focus on expands, and what you believe to be true is what will show up for you in your life. Our minds are just so powerful. Like, think about when you want to get a new car, right? And you're like, okay, I want to get the new red Mustang. And all of a sudden, you're driving around and you start seeing them red Mustangs everywhere. And it's not like those cars were never there before. They were always there, but because now your mind is focused on it and locked in on wanting a red Mustang, it's like scanning and searching in your reality for red Mustangs. So that's just one example of how powerful your mind is on such like a small matter. Even something that some people are like, oh, wow, what a coincidence. Or when you're thinking about somebody, like when you're walking around, you're going about your day and like you're just really thinking about someone and you're like, wow, I haven't heard from them in a while. Or you're just thinking about someone and then you forget about it. And then later in that day, or sometimes like a couple minutes later, that person will call you or text you. And it's like, because your mind is just so powerful. So there are two parts of our minds that make up our whole mind, which then helps to make up our reality that we live in. And everybody's reality is different because everybody's mindset is different. Even if two people grew up in the same house, they have different experiences. They interpreted it in different ways. So because they have that, they believe different things about themselves, about the world, and they could literally be twins, but just perceive and live in a different world from each other. And when I say different world, it's like, yes, we're all living on this earth together, but literally living in different worlds. I could legit be driving in the car with somebody, and when I'm driving in the car, like when I'm sitting in the front seat with them, I'm seeing it completely different and noticing completely different things than they're noticing because what our minds are fixated on, what our minds are set to. So when it comes to our mindsets, we have a conscious mind and a subconscious mind. So basically, the conscious mind is what we are consciously aware of, what we can sense, what we experience, conversations we're having, the media, you literally listening to this podcast right now, me making the podcast right now. Like, this is what we're consciously aware of, what we're consciously taking in. So I'm sure you're aware of stating affirmations. And when you're stating affirmations like, I'm worthy, I can do this, I'm capable, I am enough, I love myself, you are consciously stating those affirmations. So you are consciously saying them and consciously listening to them. So your conscious mind is taking it in. The thing about our conscious mind is it only makes up about 5% of our reality, like a very small percent. It's the subconscious mind that makes up the other 95%, and your subconscious mind was actually formed by the age of 7. Your subconscious mind is the things that you do on autopilot, like the things that you've done, you learn and you've done so many times that you don't even have to think about it. Like you wake up in the morning and you don't even have to think about brushing your teeth. Well, I hope you don't. I hope you wake up in the morning and brush your freaking teeth. But while you're brushing your teeth, you don't even have to think about like, okay, I need to brush the top and left to right and up and down, circle and tongue. Like you don't think about that. You're just literally doing it on autopilot because it's just subconsciously ingrained in you to do that. The same thing with driving. Like, have you ever driven home from work or something and you just, I don't know, literally dissociated, or you were on the phone with your friend or just listening to music and you loved all the songs and you got home and you're like, damn, I don't even remember driving home. Like, not in a dangerous way, but it's like, you know, you got home safe and you knew exactly where to go because subconsciously it's ingrained in you of where to go. You didn't even have to think about it. Even with driving a car, you don't even have to consciously think about how to drive a car. It's ingrained in your subconscious on how to do that. Just like with riding a bike, just like with swimming. Like, I could go on and on about this. So basically, your subconscious mind is running the show. It is literally running the show of everything in your life. 95% of your life is ran by your subconscious mind. So from when you were born to about 7 or 8 years old, everything that you took in, whether good or bad, experiences, feelings, situations, circumstances, that is lodged into your subconscious mind. And unfortunately, a lot of people who are adults now are still running on the limited programming they picked up on in early childhood. It's like, yeah, you're 30, 40 years old, but you're like literally still scared of things because you experienced it when you were 5. And you're like, I don't understand why I'm scared of dogs. Even though like the littlest puppy, it's like you might have had a situation when you were 5 years old where a dog scared you and you just literally never overcame that fear. And so now you're 45 years old and like lose your shit when you see a little dog that's like, looks like a toy. So when we're kids and our subconscious is forming, like when we're young kids, our subconscious is like a sponge and we take in everything. Like monkey see, monkey do. Don't get me wrong, kids are paying attention to what you're saying, but more often than not, they're paying attention to what you're doing, how you're acting, and they're taking it in and they can sense how you're feeling. And so that's what we were taking in as children. So our subconscious mind was formed from our parents, our teachers, the media, our peers, etc. So for example, whether you were called stupid as a kid, or you were called ugly as a kid, you were picked on a lot, or you were completely uplifted and encouraged as a kid, or you even watched your parents work tirelessly, multiple jobs, and still not have enough money, all of those circumstances shape the way that you continue to live your life from that point on. What you believed to be true at that age stuck in your head, and then as you grew older, you attracted people, circumstances, and experiences that proved those beliefs to be true, which then instilled the belief even deeper in your mind. So it's like, okay, you were told you're a smart kid, you're a good kid, like you're really smart. So it's like, okay, yeah, I'm really, really smart. So as you're going through school, you're believing you're smart, so then you're doing good in school. And then you're like, yeah, look, I'm smart. That's why I just aced this test. And then it's like, you keep going. It's like, yeah, I'm smart. That's why I got into this college. And this, like, because you have this deep-seated belief that you're smart. But on the opposite end, if you were told that you were stupid, even though you weren't stupid, like you might have done something wrong, one thing wrong or whatever, and you might not have had that great of parents who were nice to you and they were like, oh, you're dumb, you're a dumb little kid, whatever, you're never going to amount to shit. Like you're going to grow up in your life literally believing that, even though that's not true. That is just a belief that you took on when you were a kid. And 9 times out of 10, when you were fed like very rude and horrible beliefs about yourself, like when people were mean to you, especially adults, they were projecting, because all adults is just bigger kids. So those adults might have had their own limiting beliefs since when they were kids. So if they believed that they weren't good enough and then they saw you as a kid and they still didn't feel good enough, they're going to be like, yeah, you're not going to amount to anything either. Like it's a cycle, which is why it's so important to heal yourself and love yourself so that you don't perpetuate this negative cycle and just keep passing down the bullshit limiting beliefs that aren't serving anyone. But luckily, our brains are able to be reprogrammed. We can unlearn limiting beliefs and learn new beliefs that actually benefit us. So there are a bunch of different ways that you can reprogram your subconscious mind. Even if you're not consciously aware of doing this and programming and reprogramming your subconscious mind, it's still happening. Like I said, everything that you're experiencing and taking in, like your subconscious mind is taking it in, like down to the music that you're listening to, the content that you watch on social media, the conversations that you have with people, the friends that you have, and like the relationships that they're in, and that's normalizing in your brain. Like everything is, you're taking it in. So your mind is being formed. So the thing about this is what we're doing is we're consciously being aware that, okay, our mind is being programmed. So what direction do we want it to be programmed in? What beliefs do we want to instill in our brain? And what beliefs we want to let go, and then becoming aware of the beliefs that are limiting us and releasing them. So some ways to reprogram your mindset are stating affirmations or having positive self-talk, because literally talking to yourself like shit and saying like, oh, I can't do this, I'm ugly, I'm fat. I don't even like actually saying it. That's why I'm mumbling it, because I don't believe that about myself. And your words are so freaking powerful, because what you say over and over again, you will eventually believe. So speaking to yourself in a way that is uplifting and that is encouraging you and just instilling more confidence in you. That is so great, because even though you're consciously saying it, the more and more you say it, you will start to believe it, and it'll literally be ingrained in your subconscious mind. It'll just be like, yeah, I'm amazing. I'm smart. I'm more than capable. I'm wealthy. I'm healthy. I have an amazing body. I have great friends. I'm worthy of love. The more and more and more you repeat that, I promise you, you will start to see it in your life. So some other ways of reprogramming your mindset are listening to subliminal affirmations, changing your environment and the people you interact with, including who and what you consume on TV and social media, listening to different music, and you guessed it, microdosing mushrooms. I'm always going to find a way to bring it back to the mushrooms, because the mushrooms are the truth. It's insane how amazing and how many benefits there are to literally microdosing psychedelic mushrooms. Years before I even knew about mindset work and what the subconscious mind even was, my mindset was already being reprogrammed for the better because I was microdosing mushrooms. In last week's episode, we talked about different ways that microdosing mushrooms positively impact the brain, and one of them being that it stimulates neuroplasticity, which is just a fancy way of saying that it helps to form new neural pathways to instill the new information or beliefs that we are learning. Before I started microdosing mushrooms, my mindset was, I'm not going to say it was completely terrible, but I had a lot of limiting beliefs that I just was not aware of because it was just normal to me. I literally grew up thinking that I was ugly, that I was undesirable because I am a dark-skinned Black woman, right? And don't get me wrong, I know I'm beautiful, but I grew up in a predominantly white town that was more on the racist side. And so I was sometimes the only Black person in my classes. So I was just, kind of targeted, bullied a lot. I also grew up in a family where almost like in my immediate family, all of them have lighter skin than me. And trust me, I know that should not matter at all. But in the Jamaican culture, it's so stupid. It really does. Like colorism is so real. And I literally felt like the black sheep. Like, I am not even kidding. Like, at some points throughout my adolescence, I was referred to as like the black sheep or like black this, like black. Like, it was just so crazy and bad. And honestly, because I experienced that so much growing up, I was like, okay, well, I'm just like, must not be that great because I'm a dark skinned Black woman. Like, I just better accept whatever I can get when it comes to relationships, or I better work twice as hard till I'm thought of as half as good. And like, I believed that through most of my like adolescence in school. So because I believed that, I would just keep living my life like that and attract more people and circumstances to me that prove that to be true, until I literally got to be in my 20s and I was like, what the hell? This is not like true. And this is not normal at all. And so once I realized that was a belief that was literally wrong, it was false, and it was holding me back. And like I said, I realized this, I'm not kidding, that I had this deep-seated belief of being less than when I was doing mushrooms, because it's just so normalized. It's just normalized in general for a minority to feel less than. But because it's normalized, we just don't think anything of it. We're just like, yeah, that's just what it is. But no, that's what it ain't. It's not good. So I realized that was a belief that was false. And I was like, we're going to pick this out of my head and throw it away. And like, obviously it wasn't that easy. It's not like I was just like, okay, yeah, I believe that I'm amazing now and deserve the best. Like, it took some time, not a lot of time, but it took some time of like repeatedly doing different exercises and doing different methods to reprogram my mind. But now I'm like, I'm that bitch. Like, I'm so great. The fact that I'm a Black woman is a superpower. Like, it's awesome. I think so differently of myself now in such a positive way in that aspect. And I'm so grateful for it. On the opposite end, growing up, like something that was good was I was always told that I was really smart. As a baby, I just learned really quickly and picked up really quickly, right? So then as I'm going through school, my mom tested me to be like in the higher level classes. And then I was in the advanced and gifted classes, which then I was getting good grades in because I believed that I was really smart. So I was just effortlessly and easily getting good grades in these classes. So I'm like, yeah, I'm really smart. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. And then that just continued and continued into the way of like, I'm in high school, right? And it's like, that's when shit kind of started to go downhill, like emotionally and stuff. But like academically, your girl was still on top, like, cause I'm really smart. So like, it didn't matter that I partied all weekend and forgot we had a test. I went to class and I aced it because my mindset was I'm really smart. And then I got into a great university, and then I did really well in university. And it's like, even so to this day, I'm like, yeah, I'm really smart. Like, I can learn things really well. Like, people are like, how did you learn how to do this? And I'm like, I'm just really smart. Like, and then over the years, everyone's like, yeah, she's just really smart. Like, yeah, you're just really smart. Like, even in middle school, oh my gosh, in middle school, I won most likely to succeed. I literally won most likely to succeed. And like, hello, it's true. I am succeeding. Like, and I believe that, like, I believed it so much that like the other people around me started to believe it too. And that's another thing too. What you believe to be true about yourself, it's like your energetic aura, and it's sending out signals, and other people are going to believe that to be true about you too. So if you believe that you're really smart and you're really capable, the other people around you are going to believe that too. And if you believe that you're literally not worth shit and you're ugly and you don't deserve good, other people around you are going to believe that too. And you're going to attract more people to you to reinforce those beliefs. So that's why your beliefs are so freaking important, and examining what the hell is going on in your head so that you can throw out the bullshit and input the good shit. So yeah, there's like a ton of other beliefs that I had, good and bad. But like after, when I was doing mushrooms and they were just coming up, bro, like coming up, like different circumstances, I'm like, damn, this is really how I think. This is crazy. And I was so excited. Like every time I would unlock a new limiting belief that, you know, like I said, it's in your subconscious mind, which is in the back of your mind. So a lot of these times you're just not aware of this shit. Like you are not consciously aware of it because it is subconsciously buried in the back of your mind. So when new limiting beliefs would come up into my awareness so I could consciously be aware of it, I'd be like, yes, cool. So like, let's get rid of this shit. Let's flip it and let's learn something new that's actually going to benefit me. Like get rid of these limiting beliefs and let's input some uplifting beliefs. Damn, it's about time. So yeah, mushrooms definitely opened up the door for me of learning how to consciously reprogram my mind, because it just made me aware. The thing about mushrooms, like I told you before, it brings up what's in your subconscious. Like it brings up what's in the back of your mind, repressed memories and traumas and stuff, but in a way that's not scary. It brings it up in a way that you're able to view it from a different point of view and be like, oh, okay, well, that's not that scary. And now that I'm an adult, I see that the reason I believe that, or the reason that I interpreted that situation like that, was because I was a child and I didn't know. And I didn't realize that that's how that person felt about themselves. Or I didn't realize that this was going on because of what was going on in the world. Or I didn't realize that I was living in a certain town that was programming me to hate myself. Certain things like that. So mushrooms bring it up in a way that make it so much easier and less scary to face, which is so awesome. And it's just incredible. So yeah, the moral of the story is you can upgrade your mindset at any time. Even though you might have gone literally decades with certain limiting beliefs, you'd be surprised at how quickly you can turn that belief around for the better. I remember when I first started microdosing mushrooms, and it was I've done mushrooms for a while, but when I was actively first starting to I'm okay, I'm gonna do these mushrooms. I'm gonna microdose and macrodose over time and whatnot. And I remember it was from 2019 to 2020. And when I look back on my life, from the last year, I said, who the hell? What in the world? My life has completely changed. I was living in a different city, a city that I thought that I used to hate before. And actually moving to that city is what helped me to feel more confident and love myself more, because I was just treated better there. And a reason I was treated better there was because I was learning to love myself more. I was getting rid of old limiting beliefs because I was thinking better of myself and feeling more confident. I was attracting new people and circumstances and situations, a literal new place to live that reflected my new thought process. And I was not drinking and partying anymore. And I was looking into starting my own business. And I was just doing all these things and putting myself out there literally within a year. And it's I'm not even kidding. I didn't even consciously do any, I wasn't consciously yeah, I'm going to change my life and change my mind. That first year that I was serious about microdosing and doing mushrooms, I wasn't consciously being I'm going to change my mind and change my life. I literally didn't even know about any of that. I had no idea. I was just doing mushrooms because it made me feel good. And then when I look back in a year, I'm yo, this is sick. My whole life is so different in such a great way. And then, everything else started to unfold. I started to learn about all this stuff and wellness and yada, yada, yada. And now we're here. So yeah, you're not stuck. Your mind is just set in a way that's not serving you anymore. But it's okay. We can easily fix that. Changing your mind will change your life. So if you've been interested in microdosing mushrooms, but you don't know where to start and you want structure and support along your journey, check out my Higher Self Mastery program. It's an online video coaching course that covers microdosing mushrooms, holistic wellness, and upgrading your mindset to feel more self-love and feel more confident and just to step into your literal highest self, your best self, living your best life. This program is just jam-packed with everything I learned when it comes to microdosing mushrooms, practicing holistic wellness, and reprogramming your mindset, because I feel you can just do one of those things and still get a lot of great positive results. But the fact that those three things represent the mind, body, and soul, reprogramming your mindset, holistic wellness, your body, and then your microdosing mushrooms is your soul. And honestly, it's all of it. It's all great for everything. But this program encompasses your mind, body, and soul. And when your mind, body, and soul are in harmony and they're upgraded, the quality of your life is just so much better. So this program encompasses everything for the mind, body, and soul in a natural and holistic way that will help you to live a happier and better life. And don't worry, I'm not going to leave you hanging, because within the program, you're also going to get access to the best microdosing mushroom products ever with a forever discount code. And I'll link all of that in the show notes. If you're not already, make sure you're following me on TikTok and Instagram at Shally Way and send me a DM. Let's chit chat. I share a lot of lifestyle content on there about holistic wellness, mushrooms, and mindset stuff, or just when I'm out and about and maybe I microdose that day or maybe I did it and I just have these epiphanies and these thoughts in my head and I just put it online and share it. And even though it's something personal that I'm going through, all the time I always get people and being you read my mind. I needed to hear this right now. And it's because we're all connected. So I love that. I love being that channel for all of this wisdom and just knowledge and goodness and being able to share it with you on social media. Thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode of the Psilly Talk podcast. We'll be back next week. Bye.